Hello and welcome to January 2nd. I call this one Holy Moses. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither hithertofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Exodus chapter 4, verse 10. The story of Moses is one of the most important stories ever told. Without Moses, the story of Western civilization would not have played out as it did. In this biblical story laid out in the book of Exodus, Moses leads the Jews out of Egypt to start a new nation. Now, this story has been called upon or seen as a rallying cry for countless struggles for freedom. The U.S. founding fathers looked to Moses. And of course, blacks enslaved in the South saw Moses as their leader as they sought to become free. Who was this Moses that God chose to be the leader of a new nation? Surely, he must have come from a long and well-established line of rulers and kings. Not the case. Moses was born to basically unknown parents. And to save his life from Pharaoh, who, was going around killing babies, because I guess that's what pharaohs did back then, is let's kill some babies. He was abandoned in the river only to be saved by Pharaoh's daughter, who then brought him home, and he was raised in the house of Pharaoh. Moses was a child of insignificant birth, who was raised in an environment where he grew up seeing Jewish people as the slaves and less than Egyptians. He would have been raised with all of the prejudice regarding the Jews that any such upbringing would have entailed. Now, did this mean Moses was uniquely gifted at inspiring his fellow Jews in thought and action? No, absolutely not. In this introductory quote that I gave you, Moses was described as slow to speech and slow to tongue. Basically, Moses was a mumbler. God could not have picked a less likely candidate to rescue his chosen people. Moses, a low-born mumbler who was raised by bigots. Doesn't quite sound like the start you'd expect, right? Moses went on to be the voice of God for the Jewish people. He spoke words that changed the course of human history. Not bad for a guy that we today would say was kind of suffering from stage fright. This is such an important message. Now, for the record, I'm not claiming that me speaking today is I'm being called by God, and I'm not even claiming to be Jewish either. All that I'm claiming is that it does not matter who you are or where you come from. If you speak honestly, it is the best thing for you and the best thing for the world too. But it was God that told Moses to speak. Now, if God came down here and he said, directly told me to speak, I might walk up to the podium with a bit of confidence, in that situation. Maybe, maybe not. Think of it this way. Replace the concept of God, the biblical God from the Bible, with the concept of truth. Are we not all called to seek the truth the best way we know how? I think we are. But do we? Oh, hell no. We hide behind our anxieties and the niceties and the introversion, and we hide behind the status quo and our feeling that it's someone else's responsibility to speak up and not ours. We go along to get along. This is not a call for everyone to be an asshole. Are we called, or you are called, we are all called to speak the truth the best we know how. But you are also called to establish relationships with other people that will allow you to hear their speech as well. If you're cruel or rude, no one is going to want to engage with you. This is counter to what we are trying to accomplish. If you go out and belittle and berate others, they will not engage with you. They will want to punch you and walk away instead. When people feel attacked, they get defensive. Defensive people don't engage in meaningful dialogue. They defend. This will not help you discover if you are getting closer to the truth. We can only speak the truth the best we know how. The same is true for others. You need to listen and evaluate their claims based on what you know and the truth that you know it to help them get closer to the truth so that they can therefore help you get closer to the truth. The story of Moses rescuing the Jews from Egypt has been the rallying cry for people escaping bondage and enslavement. If the story tells us anything, it tells us that anyone can lead through words and action. More than a biblical narrative, it is the story of one man armed with the truth, speaking it into the world. This story tells us that we have an obligation to speak and that it might just change the course of human history. Thank you.